Welcome back to Alien Wisconsin. I'm your host, Ian Stephen. Today we dive deep into the growing threat that UFOs represent to air traffic, as an increasing number of pilots have reported sightings and near collisions with these unknown objects. We will cover how Wisconsin is leading the nation forward on air safety and UFOs with new federal legislation. A quick reminder. The terms UFO and UAP refer to the same thing and can be used interchangeably, although the government prefers the newer term UAP. We begin with former Navy pilot Ryan Fobbs Graves. He's a trained expert observer with the F-18F, with over a decade of combat experience with 2 deployments, Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Inherent Resolve. 9 years ago, Graves would have an unexplained encounter near Virginia Beach that would change his life. The day began with a routine onboard radar system upgrade on Graves's F-18F. His mission briefing for the day was an air combat training mission in Area W-72, an exclusive block of airspace 10 miles east of Virginia Beach. This military operations area was closed to all civilian aircraft, and its exact location was on a need-to-know basis. After entering the training zone, Graves's upgraded radar system began detecting small unknown objects. He and his squadron changed course and headed to intercept. When the squadron engaged these objects, they discovered an enigma, a dark cube in a transparent sphere, floating motionless against strong wind, with no detectable means of propulsion. This UAP was confirmed by multiple pilots visually, on radar, and with infrared cameras. After being observed for several minutes motionless, the cube then flew in between 2 F-18s traveling within 15 feet of these planes, flying away at a high rate of speed. Later, Graves began discussing his encounter privately with other pilots, and he learned how widespread and common UAP sightings are. Pilots from Hawaii to the North Atlantic reported seeing similar objects nearly daily. Unfortunately, for anyone concerned about air safety or national security, most of these sightings go unreported. The FAA offers no official channel for reporting UAP, and the military has no mechanism for sharing reports with the FAA. Together, these oversights compound safety and intelligence blind spots. If pilots report these UAP, they face ridicule, stigma, and career jeopardy because of antiquated medical rules. Feeling compelled to make a difference, Ryan Graves formed Americans for Safe Aerospace, a military pilot-led nonprofit organization with over 11,000 members. They advocate for air safety and government transparency on the UAP issue. This last summer, Ryan Graves was one of 3 witnesses to testify under oath before Congress on the UAP and air safety issues. Let's watch.
My name is Ryan Fobbs Graves, and I'm a former F-18 pilot with a decade of service in the U.S. Navy. I have experienced advanced UAP firsthand, and I'm here to voice the concerns of more than 30 commercial aircrew and military veterans who have confided their similar encounters with me. Today, I would like to highlight 3 critical issues that demand our action. As we convene here, UAP are in our airspace, but they are grossly underreported. These sightings are not rare or isolated, they are routine. Military aircrew and commercial pilots, trained observers whose lives depend on accurate identification, are frequently witnessing these phenomena. The stigma attached to UAP is real and powerful and challenges national security. It silences commercial pilots who fear professional repercussions, discourages witnesses. It is only compounded by recent government claims questioning the credibility of eyewitness testimony. In closing, I recognize the skepticism surrounding this topic. If everyone could see the sensor and video data I witnessed, our national conversation would change. I urge us to put aside stigma and address the security and safety issue this topic represents. If UAP are foreign drones, it is an urgent national security problem. If it is something else, it is an issue for science. In either case, unidentified objects are concerned for flight safety. The American people deserve to know what is happening in our skies. It is long overdue.
Usually, congressional hearings like the UFO hearing last summer have no direct effect on creating legislation. This one did. Our very own Wisconsin Republican Congressman Glenn Grothman, who chaired the UFO hearing, seemed convinced by the witnesses and evidence submitted, and he developed new legislation. In a bipartisan bill with California Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia, Safe Airspace for Americans would address many of the issues raised by Americans for Safe Aerospace. Here is Congressman Garcia's official announcement of the bill.
Hey everyone, it's Congressman Robert Garcia. I just filed a new bill that's focused on UAPs and UAP sightings from commercial aviation, pilots, and personnel. The Safe Airspace for Americans Act is a great bipartisan bill that provides a mechanism for pilots, aviation personnel, and others to report any UAP sightings that they might have. And we got to ensure that there's full transparency, disclosure, and a way for pilots to report any UAP sightings. And it's important that folks have an ability to report any sort of UAPs without any fear of retaliation directly to the FAA. The FAA would then take the data, share it with the Department of Defense, and ensure that any information, especially that pertains to national security, is addressed. It's also important that these FAA records and the system that is used is also accessible to the public. This is a great step to ensure that we have transparency in commercial aviation. And in fact, this bill is an idea that was developed from our very first hearing about UAPs.
I would encourage anyone watching this video to call your representative and ask them to support the Safe Airspace for Americans Act. One quick call makes the skies safer and helps remove the UAP stigma airspace professionals face. In our last episode, we covered how Madison woman Kay Hegstead was being interred on the moon through a new public and private program with NASA, which would be NASA's first landing on the moon since 1972. Unfortunately, this will not be her final resting place. A point fuel leak caused the Peregrine lander to burn up and return to Earth's atmosphere. The remains of Hegstead and 70 other people, once bound for a lunar burial, disintegrated with it. It is unfortunate and reminds us of the perils and profound danger of space travel. The distance between the Earth and the Moon is roughly 240,000 miles, a perilous trip, and humanity's ventures into space have yielded minimal results. In 1969, when America did the impossible and landed on the moon, it was a profound scientific, cultural, and technological achievement. The Nixon administration was so certain that the Apollo mission would fail that they had already drafted a speech titled "In Event of Moon Disaster" to read to the American public, and Nixon had reportedly rehearsed it. This recently released speech seemed appropriate to read, given the circumstances. Fate has ordained that the men who went to the moon to explore in peace will stay on the moon to rest in peace. These brave men, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, know that there is no hope for their recovery, but they also know that there is hope for mankind in their sacrifice. These two men are laying down their lives in mankind's most noble goal, the search for truth and understanding. They will be mourned by their family and friends. They will be mourned by their nation. They will be mourned by the people of the world, and they will be mourned by a Mother Earth that dared send two of her sons into the unknown. In their exploration, they stirred the people of the world to feel as one. In their sacrifice, they bind more tightly the brotherhood of man. In ancient days, men looked at stars and saw their heroes in constellations. In modern times, we do much the same, but our heroes are epic men of flesh and blood. Others will follow and surely find their way home. Man's search will not be denied. But these men were the first, and they will remain the foremost in our hearts. For every human being who looks up at the moon in the night to come will know that there is some corner of another world that is forever mankind. That's our show tonight. Thanks everyone for helping out. Subscribe, share, and engage with us as we navigate this unfolding narrative together. Your voice, your curiosity, and your support are the beacons that guide us forward.